Hello, and welcome to this actual play series for Ryne. Ryne is a wild fantasy role-playing game focused on community and travel in a world shaped by broken god titans. We're doing this actual play series as Ryne is currently on Indiegogo. We've just met our funding goal and our first stretch goal, at least as I record this, and we've got a week left of our funding. So this video series is about showcasing the game so you can get a feel for what it's like and how everything works. This is the first part of our actual play series, and in this part we are using one of Ryne's story seeds. The story seeds are sort of world building tools that we include in the game to help focus your game. So the story seed we use in this one is called The Path, and it's all about going on a journey through a range of different landscapes. And in today's episode we explore some of the places we might visit and invent some towns and creatures and titans and kind of really get into what the game is like and what the world is like. We'll put a link in the description to a campaign page so you can sign up when it goes live. For now though, let's introduce everyone and start playing the game. So I'm Adam Dixon, I'm half of Furtive Shambles and one of the co-designers of Ryne. And Thrin, did you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Thrin, I'm the other half of Furtive Shambles and one of the co-designers of Ryne.
And we're being joined by an amazing group of friends and guests. Sasha, would you like to start? Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, so Hello, I'm Sasha Sienna. I am one half of MacGuffin Company and just general professional nerd.
And
Excellent.
we've also got Luke here.
G'day, I'm Luke. I design games and I used to have a podcast, and that's pretty much me.
You design great games though. Let's not
You do.
put you down. Wildwood Games if you want to see Luke's games. And Ben, would you like to say hi?
Hello, I'm Ben Meredith. I'm a game designer and a voice actor.
I should probably have said that I'm a game designer, that's what MacGuffin and Company is.
Yes,
I don't know if
MacGuffin
that's
and
why it's
Games.
relevant.
Also make games.
I make games and I do stuff there.
Yeah.
Good, excellent, flawless.
You've just run a crowdfunding campaign of your own, am I right? Did that
I
finish?
have also on Indiegogo,
Yeah.
for Pit Crawler, which is a 2-player high chaos anti-wizard RPG.
You had me at anti-wizard.
You had me at high chaos.
Yeah, talk to me more about your anti-wizard politics.
Well, I've got a little button I can give you and some
Excellent
flyers.
things.
Shall I give an introduction to what Ryne is first? I realised that I haven't done that other than the brief overview. This world is bigger than us. The remnants shape it, forming landscapes in their image. They are the broken anchors of our world. Ryne is a world shaped by strange colossi called remnants, titans as tall as mountains and as long as valleys. A remnant might take the form of a vast carpet of moss, a stag built from driftwood, fog coating a mountainside, or a ghostly snake among the dunes. They are a part of our landscape and our lives, unknowable, ancient, powerful, and most often indifferent to us. Each remnant has its own domain: hope, preservation, delight, bounty, migration, treachery, perfection, wanderlust. A remnant's domain changes the landscape around them in its image. A vacant of preservation might create tar pits and salt flats. An echo of perfection might fill a meadow with infinite variations on a single flower. The important thing is that landscapes in Ryne are shifting, fickle things. They are alive and ruled by emotion. Humans are stubborn and adaptable. You found ways to build homes regardless of territory. A village of rickety wagons always one step ahead of the forever fire. A town built from rapidly growing bramble. A city built on the back of a remnant itself. So Ryne homes countless communities and cultures. Its humanity is broad and complex. And we're going to play to kind of find out and get a glimpse of one group of humans in this world and get a feel for who they are and how they've adapted to this place. And I think one of the things we've decided is that we're going to play through a journey, and we're going to explore a bunch of these different landscapes and see what the world is like and see how it might be different from place to place as you get closer to one Titan or another. So one of the things that we do when we start a game of Ryne is we choose a story seed. And the story seed that we've chosen for this game is called the Path. So the Path is all about undertaking a journey of one kind or another. There are some of ones in the book, like the change is about being in one landscape and seeing what happens as a strange and like unstoppable change happens to a place. There's also going to be one about like being the people that travel around gathering secrets from remnants and undertaking like a big project to do something wild and wonderful. But we're going to play the Path. So we're going to travel through some places and see some landscapes, and what we're going to do to start with, like when you select a seed, is you play like almost like a little world building game that is going to like fill out some details about our world and make some decisions for us about like the kind of journey we might want to do and where we might go and like kind of what we're interested in, and kind of just focus our game of Ryne a little bit from this big open world to something that we are interested in playing.
Okay. So the first question for the Path story seed is tone. What tone do we want our journey to have? Do we want to focus on bright and vibrant landscapes, curious and awed? Is our road treacherous with bleaker moments? I love a bleak game, don't get me wrong. But I'm feeling bright and vibrant today. Feeling curious and awed.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because I feel like there are so many games already that do a bleak and treacherous landscape, and one of the things that I really like about Ryne so far is that it feels like there is space to do a curious and awed, bright and vibrant game, so I'd really like to explore that side of it, personally.
The world can be bigger than you and scarier than you, but also cool and interesting.
Yeah.
You can have
definitely.
both.
Yeah.
Would someone like
I'm
to read?
picturing it a bit like an episode of Pokemon where just they're suddenly in the next place.
Yes, yes.
We're done here.
Oh, I was thinking of it more like Lord of the Rings, where you get a scene in one place and then you get, some beautiful aerial shots of the walking
Of someone running
section.
through it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you get another bit where they're in a different place.
Yes.
I'm not gonna lie. My entire mental image of this game is just the back half of the farthest shore, including like the elderly wizard and young fledgling vibe.
Would someone like to read out the next question?
Yeah, wondering, how certain do we want to be about where we're going? Do we want a fairly set journey, mostly mapped out? Do we want to meander in order to find our path?
Luke, you did seem keen on gunning straight for the big hands.
That was mostly a bit. I actually have a dim memory, and I can't remember if I said this last time or if I just like thought it to myself. But like, I think my character is compelled to wander
I like that.
because of the effects
That's
that
nice.
she has on the landscape around her if she stays too long.
Should we meander?
Which suggests,
Yeah, I like
like more of a
that.
works for me.
meandery type vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can still have like an idea of where we want to be at the end of the
I'm
time.
happy
But
to meander. I think that's
yeah.
nice.
I think there's something nice about just seeing where we go, and we've not shared characters yet, but from what I remember from last session when we were like creating them, you all had the vibes of people who didn't want to be in one place too long. But I think there's almost
Yeah.
like this feel that you might have stolen some stuff, which is very funny.
You can't prove
Alleged.
nothing.
Yeah.
Alleged stealing
Alleged.
of stuff.
Can't stay in one place too long is a note I'm writing down. And
And I think
yeah,
there's one more question if
Yeah.
someone wants to read it out.
Yeah, I'll go for that one. So, how long do we want our journey to be? We might linger, spending multiple sessions, so multiple beats in a place, detailing everyone in the land detailing every land and town we encounter. Or we might skip over huge periods of travel, eliding our time on the road to focus on the most important places.
one of the ways travel works in Ryne is there's like a journey move as well, which I think will help us here. In that you go like, this is where we're going to next, these are the paths we're going to, and you roll. And on a success, you just get there with no complications. And on like a miss, you have an event on the road. So I think that'll kind of help build that of like, okay, so we're going to the Emerald City next, we roll, and then we're there. Or, oh, but this happens. I think that'd be quite nice.
I think especially if we're just meandering, it's nice to skip over bits of time, just avoid the wandering around and...
Yeah. I like the idea that it feels quite episodic, because I guess we are releasing episodes as well.
Big Mushishi episode energy.
Yeah.
Big Mushishi episode energy, yeah.
So, is there anything anyone else wants to say about Tone, or any questions or anything they want from this journey? Or does that sound good for everyone?
We've settled on a pretty good episodic, light-hearted, looking at cool stuff we find as we wander around vibe, and I like that.
Yeah, I would really like... Oh, sorry, go on.
My intention is to be a little bit sad and spooky. So, I'll probably be like the emotional anchor at the back of the body, dragging everything down.
Perfect.
I just want to imagine some really beautiful places.
Yeah.
Some really weird places.
I just want to describe weird little animals, you know?
Nice.
And some big titans, and some nice landscapes, and see what we see. Yeah. Okay, so when you start like a story seed, you play like a little world building game, which is basically just to give us some focus and start to imagine the world and start to imagine some cool landscapes and places and stuff like that. To start the path, basically you put a blank sheet of paper between you, or this map, which is like a new thing that we've commissioned, especially for the Indiegogo. It's going to be in the book, and we're going to like cut it up a little bit as well, so you can print it as postcards and kind of like use those for in your game. But most excitingly, one of the Indiegogo tiers is going to be this map, but printed on a piece of fabric, big enough to kind of wrap up your book, so if you're taking it from place to place. But you can also just like lay it out between you all and like play on this map and put down little tokens. We'll also be printing some stickers which we've commissioned and are looking great, which we'll share soon. But yeah, this map is one of the ways you can start any of the story seeds, of just playing this and go like, we want to be there, we want to play there, this looks cool. The map is by Shell Khan. They did a fantastic job, and I'm really excited to be playing with it. And like, this is the first time that I've used this map in a game, and I'm excited to see what details we invent about it and like how it inspires our play. But if you wanted to not play with the map, you might just stick down a piece of paper, and you spend the first bit just like making some rough shapes of like where places could be. And once you've done that, once you've created your map, whatever your map is, we jump into like the next bit of it, which is at the one end of the paper. We're going to draw a feature, and this is the place we're setting off from, the place we're leaving behind. We can decide a little more about this place later if you want. If you've got ideas now, we can add those, but yeah, would someone like to be the first person to go and then put a feature somewhere on this map?
I found a little bit that I like, because when we were building characters off screen, we mentioned in passing Amaranth and Needle both being from a place where the snow is like a light blue. And there's and Bracken and Trinket being from the coastline, and there's a little. I'm gonna put a token in.
Yeah, if you put a token down.
Number 1, and then there's a little bit down here that's sort of pale blue along a coast of a river that I really like.
Oh, nice.
And I think that sort of fits all of our themes.
So
something about the shape of the shading is almost like glacier-like.
Yeah, there's something
definitely
mountainous about it that I like.
Does anyone have an idea of like a mood for this place? We don't have to answer this, but places can have moods in the same way that like characters roll with emotions in Ryne, and the mood is like, okay, this is how this place feels. If I'm acting with this mood, like it might help me in some way. If I'm acting against it, it might hinder me in some way. If you're not at all, then that's fine as well. So yeah, if people have a strong idea for what the mood is, we could fill that in. If you have an idea for a name, we can fill that in. We don't have to though. We can leave it blank and fill it in as we need it.
So I'm getting quite calm vibes from the sort of description of this blue ice by a river.
Yeah, I think calm is probably it. Tranquil.
I'd thought of it as kind of like accepting, but in a kind of a bleak way. I know we sort of didn't really want to do a bleak thing. But, like
But here we are.
Yeah, what if I just laid down in the snow?
Yeah.
You apparently get very much like, what if I just laid down in the snow?
The other word that was coming to my mind was like a kind of, I can't think of the right word, but like one of the words is like implacable. Like a glacier
like
is always
uncaring?
moving. But I wanted that in like how would you say that in like a calm way of like almost easygoing, like is the connotation, right? Like a glacier is always gonna move, it's always gonna get there. But it doesn't care how
Unhurried.
long. Yeah.
Or like unworried.
Unfussed.
Unfussed.
Serene, maybe.
Yes. Okay. We have a bunch of moods there, but like, yeah, I think that's good.
We know
like
what
that.
we mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a vibe, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And description, I've got glacier-like, mountainous, blue, and like we will probably get to this a little bit more when we introduce characters, but we're imagining really blue, right? Or like, yeah, bluer than most
powdery
ice.
blue. Yeah.
Cool. So the next thing is at the other end of the paper, around. It says around a quarter of the way from the edge, but it doesn't really matter if we're doing a short journey. Just wherever you kind of fancy, as long as it's a little bit away. Someone should place another feature. This is where we're heading and where our journey will end.
I have one that really speaks to me.
Mm-hmm.
I really like this big wheel fields question mark.
The field wheel. Yeah.
Yeah, up in the top right. In my head, I'm like, what if Stonehenge were considerably more involved, and also involved a bunch of terraced kind of farm bullshit, and was the size of
Wales.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think there are standing stones in it, and they have holes in them, and as the wind blows through the standing stones, it sings some kind of a song. And I don't know if it's a sad song or a happy song.
Nice. Maybe it changes depending on the direction of the wind.
I hope the wind is circular, so it's like a music box situation. The song just kind of keeps going.
From your description, like the thing I almost get from like a mood is almost like very hierarchical or bureaucratic, but also like divination. like the wind blows and then we tend these fields according to like the song that gets sung. And...
Yeah, I like...
Yeah.
Mysticism as implemented by train spotters.
I almost want to pitch like inevitable as a mood. Or something, yeah. Like I think the destiny thing is a good pull.
Yeah.
It sounds quite reverential to me.
Okay. So we've got our starting place. We've got where we're going to end. And then the other thing we're going to do is everyone is then going to... What you do in person is everyone will take some dice and roll them on the paper. And the number that they roll is basically the kind of feature they will end up being. But basically they'll scatter across the map that we're playing on. And then we'll take it in turns to pick those up and like decide what they are. Instead of doing that, I think what might be best is if everyone just puts 2 tokens on the map wherever they like.
Okay.
And we'll worry about the numbers when we pick them up, maybe. Okay, so we've got all our dice on the map. And what we do now is we're going to take it in turns. And on your turn, you're going to select one of the dice and like remove it from the map. You can select any of the dice, not just the ones you've rolled. And in that place, draw a circle, an icon, or a glyph where the dice has landed. So you can just replace it with a blank token for now. I think will probably be best. And this is the location of a feature you might visit. And then you can do one of the following 4 things. So you can decide what that feature is, and each dice number has some like options underneath it. For example, the strangeness has 6 underneath it from like being an unraveling, an entrance to the other, a fallen remnant, a seam between 2 landscapes, an extremity, a miracle. You can roll another dice to get to that if you want to do it randomly, or you can choose one of those, or you can make up something yourself as long as it kind of fits the description. Whichever way you want to get it, like an idea. So that's option 1. You can define a feature. The other option is you just leave that feature blank and you instead draw a route between 2 features on the map and say what that route might be. It could be a mountain climb, a ship's course, a paved road, whatever it is, and what kind of route is it? What kind of stories have you heard from those who travelled on it? The third option is you draw a notable piece of geography instead, or I think on this map, define a notable piece. So something that isn't a feature, but is like a huge area. So you could like look at a big mountain and be like, okay, this is a range of petrified mountains, and you talk about like why that might be the case. So the questions here are like, is the feature all in one territory, or does it spread between multiple remnant territories? And what will you need to be prepared for if you try and cross it? And then the fourth option is you get to just decide an area on the map that is a remnant territory. So instead of defining feature, like, actually, I think this like blue glacier area is all one territory, and this is the remnant that is there. So your 4 options are define a feature, draw a path between 2 features, define like a big piece of geography, or say what a territory is, like say what and where a territory is on the map. And so the 10 dice on the map, everyone's going to do this 2 times, and then we'll see where we get to and what our world is like. Who would like to go first?
I've got one.
Okay,
so
cool.
I'm happy
in
to
there.
go first.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the spotty blue area that I'm still in love with.
Yep.
Yeah, I reckon this is a strangeness, and I think what it is it's a stretch of desert, kind of like gently undulating sand dunes. They blow about and shift in the wind. The sand is like an incredibly pale white. And just like in the like picture on the map, it is dappled with deep indigo spots, as though someone from a great height had like dusted it with ink drops. I think it used to be, like many deserts, an ocean once. And I think the thing that makes it a strangeness is that when you are there, even though you're moving through air, it feels like you are moving underwater, under the pressure of a great depth under the sea.
I like that a lot.
And everyone's, hair is like, waving around and looking really cool. Yeah.
Cool. I've added that as a feature, just in our list. If you think of a name or a mood for that, or if anyone else wants to suggest any ideas, then feel free. We can also do that as we're kind of going around as well.
Mm-hmm. I have a choice for a barrier, which is this number 4 in this little bay. I think that's a fairly useful crossing point. Maybe the landscape just below it is quite treacherous. It's quite helpful to just go across on a boat. That is made more difficult by the current going downwards instead of across. Down. Water go down.
What do you mean by down? Like,
as in, the pull of the water
into
is
the
not
bay.
Is down towards the ground instead of away
so like
from
not
the
down
water.
mapwards, down like physically if
No,
you're stood in that
down
place.
waterwards.
Yes.
Like
yeah.
it's circling a huge drain.
Okay.
What if a rip was really dangerous?
Really dangerous.
So is there like
More
water
so
coming
than a
from the
normal
sky? Is there
What was
just
that,
like
sorry?
a big vertical? Is there like a big vertical river?
No.
It's
from,
just filters in and then goes down.
It's from ocean level,
Okay.
but it go down.
Okay.
I will not explain further than this.
So Minecraft water block physics is what I'm hearing.
Minecraft water block physics. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Okay. I'm just looking at the questions as well. For like the different like barrier sub options. One of them is like
I've gone for
confusion.
a confusion.
Yeah.
That's the one. And I think the skills you need to learn to pass it is there is a way of kind of rope pulling a bridge across, like old timey little ferries used to do, but it's you have to keep the balance real good.
Yeah, feel free to add a mood or name to that as well if you think of one, but you don't have to.
I will.
Has anyone else got one that they want to pick?
I've got an idea for a home, but it might be a bit out of the realms of what they say the home is in the little options, which is this little number 2 here. In this like big archipelago of islands. I had an idea for my home world, which I think is also Ben's home world, so if it's okay with Ben, the remnant would be like a current of water, and they've got this like really lovely sort of massive fish looking blue splodge in this archipelago. So I was hoping that this set of islands could be our home realm that we come from.
That sounds good.
So I'm just getting up the little options for a home.
I mean, there's the roaming town, which feels, but the town is probably like roaming islands, right? Like it's much bigger.
I like the idea
town.
that the islands move around on the current.
Yes.
Yeah, that's nice.
I know, like I've left mood to be like, we'll fill it in at some point, but I think for like a town, I think getting a mood would be great. Like, what are the vibes of this place?
I had already kind of in my head thought of it as a bit of a wanderlust or a freedom, which you already said as one of the potential moods, but I really like that, like a wanderlust or a freedom feeling.
Footloose and fancy free.
Yeah.
Like adventurous maybe as well. I thought that might work nicely because my +2 emotion is curious, and I think that Ben's got that book of pressed flowers from elsewhere or drawings of flowers from elsewhere.
Yeah. I'd like to, what was it, the fourth option was sort of defining a territory, right?
Yeah.
I was actually thinking sort of this area up here, kind of where our end point is. And we've got this, the idea of reverie, and the wheel has been quite well established, but the remnant, I quite like the idea that the remnant is a massive temple, but it has no insides. It's kind of like the facade of a temple. So from the outside, it's like somebody's carved just a temple out of a block of marble. It doesn't move, but it just appears in places, and those people who are stuck inside it are kind of frozen in a moment of kind of religious ecstasy, and then when it leaves, they're kind of released, and they don't quite remember what happened inside, but it felt good.
There must be a bunch of people who are like convinced they've figured out how to predict where it's going to be next, and like hop around the territory like temple chasing.
Yes. Yeah.
I want to just float the possibility that the wheel rotates.
Ooh,
And I'm just going to
I
leave that dangling and I don't know.
Yeah.
Is the temple, like for a remnant, we have to decide whether it's like a vacant, which is all physical, or an echo, which is all spiritual. It sounds like a ghost temple, right?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it's like a temple built of white smoke that just appears. You can't see into it. It's
the appearance
like
of
maybe,
marble from afar.
Yeah, and it is permeable. Like people could walk into it if they're not caught immediately, and then they're kind of frozen at the point they walk in.
Just go into places loads of like statues, and people are like, "Oh, you really love statues around here, don't you?" It's just all of the people that are in the temple.
And they're all clumped at the entrance.
Yeah.
Ben, if you don't have an idea for a name, I've got a pitch for a name.
Yeah, go for it.
The Sear Downs.
That's
Sear
nice.
like the adjective, not like the noun, but I think it works either way.
I'm going to remove probably the roaming town 6 up there,
Okay,
given that this area is quite well defined already. So,
cool. Yeah, and you replace it with a blank token. It's just
oh,
a
right,
place
yeah, sure.
we're not defining in any way.
Oh, that's okay.
So it's a place we might go. We just don't know what it is yet.
Yeah.
Cool. Gonna go for a crossroads, and I think what I might go for is like the one right in the middle. And I think I might roll a dice just because I have no strong ideas. So let's see what we get. Oh. That's a 4. A parting of paths. This place threatens to split your group. Is there something physical that takes you apart, or might this place give someone another kind of reason to go their own way? This is hard for me to answer as the fates. The 2 ideas I have, and I'll pitch it to you as a group. So one is like, it's like, it could either be time-based or like, this is the place where you can get back to the islands in some way. So you'd have to make a choice. Like, oh, the islands might have moved on. I think that's less interesting. The other idea I have is like, because in Ryne, like, people can have both bodies and spirit. What if this is a place that can only be like traversed in one way or the other? So you can either you can only go there if you have a spirit or a body, or maybe there are 2 paths that kind of split in this place.
I like that because we are a party that covers all the available options of humanity. So
I don't know any more about that place, but that's kind of like the idea in my head of like, yeah.
And we're talking about a sort of very episodic format. Like that is an episode, right?
Yeah.
The party split. Bunch of
That's like the
scenes focused on each
cliffhanger for
person.
one.
Yeah.
Is finding out, and then the next one is what do we do?
The episode is all just a moment of peace in different formulations of the party.
Yeah. Also, the other question I have is like, and maybe we'll leave this unanswered, is like, I said there's like a parting of paths. If you're a person who has like both a body and a spirit, do you go on both of them? Just in 2 different forms?
Oh, maybe you have to do both at once, like double vision.
Do you have to pick? Yeah. Do you have to pick one temporarily?
Or do you have to pick one?
A bunch of questions.
I just love the idea of like, okay, this half of me is going that way, that half of me is going that way. Let's see what happens. But yeah, okay. I'm going to leave that mostly undefined, but I like it.
All of a sudden, mixed company, you have to figure out what your tell would be if you were a ghost.
Love that.
Okay. Shall we loop back around?
What are my options? Define a territory, define a draw path, define a big bit of landscape, define a territory. I want to define a territory. I'm just gonna like go off the reservation. I'm gonna pick somewhere no one's put anything. All this green stuff here. That's one big territory. Here are some things I know about it. It's a forest. The trees use darkness to grow instead of sunlight.
Nice.
They don't have leaves. Instead, they are on fire. And the fire is green.
Perfect.
The remnant is like a salamander thing.
Nice.
That's all I got.
I think that's all you need.
Maybe we'll go there.
Maybe we won't. Who knows?
Yeah. And which of like the dice do you want to use for that?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna.
I think that one too many we have. But...
I'm gonna use up this little 5. This little 5 down in the caldera.
Cool.
Or what looks like a caldera.
Who would like to go next? Or who was
I think
next?
I was-
Is probably
I
the
was
better
after
question.
Luke.
Yeah.
Is a path one of the things we can do?
Yeah. Yeah.
Excellent. I am going to do a little ship's course, I think. From here down to here.
So, what kind of route is it, and what stories have you heard from those who've travelled on it?
I like the idea that you don't hear any stories from people who've taken this stretch of river. People are very sure that they've done it, but when pressed for details, can't really tell you anything. They remember leaving and arriving. And then all the in-between is quite mysterious. But I like the idea that everyone who starts at that number 4 and then ends up on this little peninsula bit up here, maybe it's like a trade route between 2 towns or something, they always arrive like rime crusted, like the ship, everything on the ship, the people, it's just a thin layer of like these iridescent-y salt crystals that you have to kind of chip off once they get there. Just release them from the salt crust.
Is that the ships? Did you say the ships are stuck in them?
Yeah, the ships, the people, the cargo, everything.
Okay. Nice.
Hot baths are very popular.
Really popular. Yeah.
At one of the towns.
And which dice do you want to remove for this? Is it the number 4? The place
I
you're
think
going?
it's the number 4, yeah.
Who was next? Oh, was it Sasha?
I think it was, yeah. I'd also like to do a path. So I would like to draw a path from this number 6 up here over this like hand bridge
Nice.
down to the number 5. Because I really like the idea that that's a bridge. I love the idea that it might be. So I don't know how metaphysically this would work as if it was a remnant, but I really like the idea that the hands shift position. They're not always exactly as they are on that map, so whether they can choose to not let you cross, or they can choose to put you down in a different place than the one that you thought that
You
they
get
might,
halfway
or ask
across
them
and then
to.
one giant hand just goes boop.
And then we're just like, nope. Yes. Or they're just going to be like, I think we'll put you over here, actually.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Within the context of like a dangerous thing being on one side of them, it feels like there's a bunch of like other hands trying to guard us from something. Like,
Yeah.
And then someone is rude about the hands and you just end up plugged right back in the most dangerous bit.
Yeah.
Do you have an idea of like what the hand's temperament might be and why they would let you pass, or do we want to find that out?
I would quite like to find that out during play, if that's okay.
That sounds good.
I want the hand's temperament to remain a bit mysterious.
a problem for Adam.
Okay. But that's the new title of this actual play series, right?
That's what AP stands for. It's Adam's Problems.
Yeah.
And which token would you like to make blank? Which dice would you like to move?
I will probably... Oh, whoops, I've just accidentally drawn another line. I will probably delete this 3 that's over here, because I think we've already got quite a lot going on in that area. So.
Yeah. Cool. Ben?
I think I'm going to roll on that 6 up in the pink desert.
I was hoping someone would. I was like, I don't want to define the threat. I want you to choose your own problems.
Right, what did I roll? I rolled a 2. An invasion. It's destruction spreading out from this place, a conquering army, a consuming migration, workers harvesting which isn't theirs. What will their greed destroy? What has already been lost? I think that this is a quarry that's got out of hand. That the let's say that there was a company set up, some private interest mining or like quarrying whatever resource was here, and it ran out, and instead of cutting the loss and saying, that's gone, they're just still digging, and they're digging and digging and digging, and they've been doing it for centuries, like to the point where the dig has become its like own cultural thing, so they will not stop.
I like that.
Ben, can I pitch an image that has immediately made me think of?
Yeah, sure.
You know when you're at the beach and you're digging a thing, and you don't really know what the thing's gonna. Yeah, you're digging a hole and like it's going to be something that you don't really know what it's going to be. You know, you're not committed yet to a design. But you reach a certain point and, you know, like the water is starting to filter up ever so slightly into the bottom, and the walls of it are now collapsing of their own accord because it's now like large enough that it's got its own kind of gravity. And like I'm just like, is this quarry now so like large and huge that it actually just keeps like by landslide excavating itself even?
It's probably a combination of the two, because they're not being careful or responsible with it, right? So it's like sometimes it's them, sometimes it's slides.
It's a feverish digging.
Is it just people, or are there, like, is there a remnant digging as well?
I think they're digging into the remnant.
Oh.
That's
The plot thickens.
Yeah, and the remnant is a vacant, so that like
Yeah.
maybe the vein they're looking for or following, that is the remnant. So there was like the remnant was fossilized or in some way
It's buried
trapped
itself
below.
deeper down.
Yeah.
Enough of this, thanks.
Yeah.
I liked feverish as a mood idea. I thought that.
That's nice.
Okay, last one. I'm going to roll for this 5 because I think getting a nice resting place might be might be nice. A roadside shrine. A roadside shrine. Does a horde of attendants keep it shining, or is it crumbling from neglect? What offerings do people bring? Who or what are they for? I like the idea of like it being a bit neglected. I think that contrasts really well with the final place we're going. The idea that I like is that all of these crystals on the map are almost like one big shrine. The image I've got in my head is like like Himalayan rock salt, like that kind of form or structure, and it's all like these almost like crystal shaped, but they're all like little rooms you can go in and little shrines. They're all quite small, like they're like 1 or 2 people sized and lots of carvings and paintings on, but all the paintings are fading and they're kind of just slowly eroding as like whoever built them has long since gone and they're like not tended for anymore.
I like that in this map you can see a slight reflection of British summertime and all of us yearning to go to the coast. Like, what if it's the ocean? What if it's sand? What if
We either want to go to the coast or to Stonehenge.
one or the other.
Yeah, you all want to go to the coast. I want to go to Stonehenge. We all want what we can't have.
Yep.
Oh, I need to plan a visit to the beach. It's actually making
Love
me a
the
little bit
beach.
feral to see the
Yeah.
sea.
I must perceive the ocean or I will lose my shit.
Get some fish and
I'm gonna
chips.
call these isles the roaming isles.
Nice.
That's good.
So we've got a map, I think. We've got some cool places we might go. We know where we're starting. We know where we're aiming for. And we'll see which way we go.
Yeah, Adam and Thren, this map drawing game rules, actually.
Thank you.
Good.
Yeah, it's fun.
This shred's unbelievably hard.
Forget the rest of the book. Just do this.
I think like one of the like bits of like early feedback we got when we were first working on game was like it's very easy to create like connections between people, but like the connections to the world and what might be in the world felt like something that
You want connections to the world? We'll give you connections to the world.
And I like that we're going to see like 4 of these places in any detail, but that's fine. Like
That is fine. If we were playing
like-
a longer game, we might see all of them.
yeah. I was like I'd rather create like a wide landscape and give everyone a chance to do some fun stuff.
And it's nice to feel like there's stuff in the world that you're not seeing.
Yeah.
So you feel like
Yeah.
the world is bigger than just...
Things
what
you've
you're
heard
interacting
stories
with.
about but won't ever personally get to.
Thank you for watching our actual play series of Ryne. In the next episode, we will introduce our characters and start our journey towards the Sear Downs and the ghostly temple that awaits us there. As I mentioned at the start of this video, we are currently crowdfunding Ryne on Indiegogo. You can head to the link down in the description, which will take you straight to our Indiegogo page. You can head there and you can back our campaign. You can pick up the book or the PDF of the rules. You'll also be able to get the beautiful map that we used for our world building game, either printed as postcards with the stickers or as a beautiful, incredible like fabric book wrap that you can use to wrap up your book if you're traveling, and also unroll at your table to play the world building games on. At the time of recording, we've just reached our first stretch goal, which allows us to bring more artists onto our team and commission more art to make the book the best it can be. And you can head over to the Indiegogo page. At the time of recording, there's about 5 days left on our Indiegogo campaign, and we've just reached our first stretch goal, which we're absolutely thrilled with. That allows us to put more art into the book and bring more artists onto the team. Our next stretch goal allows us to bring in 2 more writers to write some example territories for us, so like some landscapes where remnants exist, and you'll be able to just use those in your game or use them to inspire your own landscapes as you play. That's everything for now. We will see you shortly for the next episode. Go and check us out on Indiegogo. The link is down below.